Hello, everybody, and welcome to the False Prophets Podcast. My name is Vinnie. I'm your host. I'm your teacher, and this is where you get the real scoop on real estate investing, and we don't pull any punches on the fake-ass gurus. We call out their bullshit, okay? So, I got a request. Now, I did do a video on this guy a while back. Now, I took it down because we did it at school, right? It wasn't really a podcast or anything like that. It was a school video. So, and what it was a training class. And I'm going to give you guys the same class that I gave my students. Now, let me explain the class that we did first, okay? Now, for those that don't know, I get up and I get down a lot because I got 2 bad knees and a bad hip and an extremely bad back. And if I sit for too long or I stand too long, everything freezes up and I get in too much pain, so I got to move around a little bit, okay? So, no more opioids for Vinny. So, I got to get the natural juices flowing. Okay, so in class, what I used to do, okay, I haven't done it lately, but what we used to do was, for the newbies, I'd let them come to class for like a month or so, and I'd say, okay, listen, why don't we pick out your favorite guru? Who was your guru that you followed, that you really like, you enjoyed, right? And they'd be like, okay, I like this guy, I like this guy, I like this gal, I like this couple, yada, yada. I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I want you to come back next week with your favorite video, right? Give me the links to your favorite videos. One that really caught your attention, like, wow, these are the ones that I really like, right? And why I liked them. So they come back, and what we did is we would play it. Now, you got to remember, these are people that knew nothing and were enamored by these gurus because of the bullshit that they spew. Now, after just a month or two of getting taught by me, right, they already knew that they were getting snookered out of their money. Now, some of them already got snookered out of their money, right, and now, have a little bit more success with me, a lot more success with me. Okay, and some of them were very thankful that they didn't waste their money. So, who are we going to pick on tonight? Okay, well, I don't like to say pick. Let me take that back. It's not that we're picking on anybody. We're just calling out the bullshit. Okay? All right, we're going to call out the granddaddy of them all. Now, why do I call this guy the granddaddy? Because everybody that I would go and expose, go listen to their horse shit, right? All of them say the same thing, right? They learn from this guy, who learned from this guy, who all wound up learning from this guy. And you know why they're all teaching now? Because they're all unsuccessful at real estate investing. Because trust me, folks, right? If you know my backstory, you know why I'm teaching, okay? If you know my backstory, you know why I'm doing what I'm doing right now today, okay? Again, I've had 40 years in this industry, and I am telling you right now, sure as shit, the successful people who are investors are not teachers, okay? They're out there doing 2 things. Number 1, making a shit ton of money, which I did. And number 2, enjoying the living hell out of life, which I did, until the fun police finally came and said you had too much fun, time to go, okay? So that's what you're doing. You're not out there teaching fucking programs for a couple $1,000s. Okay, you're a goddamn huckster is what you are. Okay? I, on the other hand, am an educator. I teach because I'm tired of people getting ripped off by these hucksters. So, let's talk about the granddaddy, right? Ron LeGrand. Ron LeGrand. Now listen, I got to tell you something. I got called... listen, when people come to me and say, can you research these guys? This was my guy. I don't just say, oh, he's a piece of shit. No. That's not what I do. I go and I get all their information. I get it all. I research it, okay? I get everything. I get it all. My lucky day. I get it all, see? And then it comes more and more and more and more. It keeps coming, right? Then the emails start coming, right? More emails start coming. Then you're bombarded relentlessly with emails and things in the mail, non-stop about their school and their program and everything else. See, I do not just look at a guy and say, what is he teaching? I research it, okay? I research it. There's more, okay? I research it. It's what I do. I research the people that you asked me to look up. Now, that's not all of it. That is not all of it. Hell no. Let me show you. Listen, it's not all of it. Give me 1 second. Just give me a second. Give me 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. I'm finding it. Hold on. I will find it. Just bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. All right? That's not it. I'm going to find it. As you can hear, I got some Led Zeppelin playing on the radio over there. Okay. 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 Let me show you this. Let me show you this. Hold on. Hold on. We'll open it up. Oh. Hold on. That's not the right stuff. I know I'm taking a little bit longer. Hold on. Okay. Let me show you this. Okay. You see all this? All this stuff is all the stuff that I got from Ron LeGrand. Okay? All, by the way, it's all pretty much junk. It's like third grade stuff, to be honest with you. All of it. All of it. Third grade, script for preschool. You got your script? Are you serious? Right? Like, are you serious? Like, this is everything in here is junk. So my point that I'm trying to tell you, when I explain to you that the word huckster, fraud, phony, baloney, I just don't call it out. I research it. I find out what they're selling. I find out if it's any good or not any good. It's what I do. Okay? People come to me, whether they're going to be my student, my private student, whatever it is. I want them to have faith in me that they're going to get a real education, not this junk. Now, I'm going to show you this pile of garbage. Because trust me, this is all Ron LeGrand garbage. It's worthless. Okay? Now, okay. Let me get rid of that garbage first. Okay? Where's the next set of garbage I want to show you? Okay. All right. So, I want to tell you a story. So, as you know, I research them, right? So, I put my name in a hat. Next thing I know, I am bombarded with information. Bombarded. Okay? Then, I get an invitation. I get a postcard in the mail. Then I get a phone call. And the phone call is they're talking about this school, right? This 4-day school. And I shit you not, I thought they were calling me to teach it. I guess I'm naive and stupid. Okay, I'm not. There's no doubt. I, honest to God, thought they were calling me. They left a voicemail. Hey, Vinnie calls back. I want to talk to you about the 4-day Ron LeGrand school, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, oh, okay, they want me to be a guest speaker and, No. You know what they wanted? They wanted $5,000 to come to a 4-day school. Now, listen, I spoke to the sales guy for hours. I wish I would have recorded it. I kicked myself in the ass for not recording it. Why? Because by the time I was done with my phone call, the sales guy was agreeing with me that, yeah, it is a piece of shit. And put my hand on the Bible. I'm telling you, he agreed with me that, yeah, never going to learn anything. Okay, why? Because let me show it to you first. Okay? Let me show you the postcard first. Let's get to the postcard. Let me show you that, right? I don't have the actual postcard, but I did pull it up from the video I did before. So let's show you that, okay? So here's the postcard. Forget everything you know about real estate investing and join Ron LeGrand for his live 4-day quick start school in Jacksonville, Florida, May 21st. Exclusive, 50% off for a limited time only. 50% off of what? Just a made-up friggin' number? That's what it's 50% made of. Okay, so now what? Okay, now we got it. What's the school? Now, I did have the other half, but I can't find the goddamn postcard. So what I do, well, I pulled this up for us, okay? It's basically the same thing. Ron LeGrand Quick Real Estate School Registration. Now, I got some more information on it. Hold on, I got to grab my notes real quick. Give me 1 second. I have my notes over here. I'm sorry, I put my notes over here, all right? Just bear with me. I'm coming back. Just relax. Relax, here I come. Okay, took my notes. Now, so this is the school, Quick Real Estate School Registration. This is a 4-day intensive hands-on training that includes, what does it include? Well, Vinny, this includes live seller calls, live deal structure, a virtual ugly house tour where Ron goes inside real ugly house and estimates repairs and even visits some houses after they've been rehabbed. Big deal. Then are you a Ron Gold Club member? Well, guess what, folks? I have this Gold Club membership right here. We're going to go over the cost of that, okay? Because I have that. Where do I have that? I have that over here. Don't worry. We're going to go over that as well, okay? And that's his Gold Club membership form. We got that, okay? So, anyway, oops, sorry. 100% money back guarantee. 30 days, 30-day money back guarantee. Okay, now, let me tell you about that. All right, what I want to do is I want to tell you this. I have a friend of mine, a very wealthy friend, and he runs, like, you know, you have these low-end meetups, right, where you run a meetup group and maybe 10, 20, 50 people show up and you talk about something for 2 hours, right? Okay, well, a friend of mine runs one of these, like, meetups, but they're not low-end stuff. This is very high-end. It's very high-end networking is what it is. And it's very expensive to join, right? It's like a couple thousand up front, a couple $100 a month. And I was a guest speaker one day on it with real estate because he's actually a student of mine as well, right? Private student where I'm helping him purchase some real estate and everything like that. So I did a guest thing. Now, one of the guys that was on there, the networker, he wound up calling me and we were talking. And he was saying that back in the day, one of the things he did was he ran a real estate boot camp. He charged $8,000 or $9,000 for like a 4-day event, okay? And he taught basically the same bullshit this guy's teaching, right? And I said to the guy, listen, because he's like, do you want to get involved? I said, no. I don't want anything I don't want anything to do with that. Like nothing. Why? Because let me tell you something. And one of his things was, look, we charged $9,000, but we gave him a 100% money back guarantee. And I don't want to say the guy's name, so I'm going to make up a name. Okay, I'm just going to make up Andy. Okay, it's not his real name. So Andy's saying, we give him a money back guarantee. I said, Andy, let me tell you something. There is zero chance, just like this right here, and we'll get into it. Zero chance. I don't care if you had 200 people in the room. Not one of them would ever go and buy property what you're teaching them over your 4 days. There's no fucking way it's going to happen. So I don't understand how you didn't have to give everybody's money back. And what he said was this, and this is why I can't. A, I wouldn't work with the guy. B, I'm like, I wanted nothing to do with it. And C, while I'm exposing these people, he said, Vinny, we made it so difficult for them to get their money back that they would have just given up. They had to do everything step by step by step, like all these different things they had to do to get their money back. Now, as a newbie, there's no way you're going to do it. A, you don't have the time to do it, okay? You're never going to have the time to do it, right? What they're asking you to do. B, you don't really know how to do it because you're not getting a real education at these academies. You're getting pom-pom motivation is what you're getting. You're getting an overview, like a 30,000-foot overview on a couple of different subjects, like subject to financing and lease purchase option. They'll throw trusts and LLCs in there, right? You know, they might throw wholesaling in there as well. You know what I'm saying? But that's it. Now, Ron will throw in some fix and flips as well. But that you think you're going to learn? What the fuck? I don't give a shit what it is. What do you honestly think you're going to learn in 4 days that you're going to all of a sudden be successful? I don't give a shit if you're making ice cream cones. You ain't going to be a master at pouring ice cream in an ice cream cup after 4 days. Well, maybe that. So let's take a look at this shit. Okay, so what do you get in 4 days? Okay, well, sorry. You get 4 days with Ron LeGrand and his hand-picked facility. Who the fuck cares what his hand-picked, facility? Is that what I said? Listen, I do know how to read, and I do know that it's faculty, right? I have no idea why I said facility. I know it says faculty. I'm not that dumb. I mean, you know, maybe some people might think I am. My wife, maybe. 4 days with Ron LeGrand and his hand-picked faculty. Ooh, his hand-picked faculty. Free tuition for a qualified guest. That means you come with your wife and she don't have to pay. Or you come with your husband and you don't have to pay. Big deal. Pretty house term system. Ooh, we're going to buy things on terms. What is terms? I'll get to it. Wholesale retail system. By the way, everything, you're trying to do everything wholesale, right? 90-day helpline. 90-day. What the fuck do you think you're going to get done in 90 days? The fuck do you honestly think you're going to get done in 90 goddamn days? Nothing. Now, that's not necessarily true. You will. You'll be all pumped up. You'll go out there in your tribe. The event manual. You can't live without an event manual. I mean, you just can't live with an event manual. Okay? Pre-event training on bringing leads to be worked on in class. Meaning, say, you guys bring the leads and I'll work on it for you, right? I mean, oh my God. Now, this is some of the stuff that I showed you earlier, okay? Now, what is that? I'm going to show you like this. Wow. Look at this, what you're going to get, a script guide. This right here has to be the biggest piece of out there, right there, okay? Free repeats for 1 year, right? Depends on how many times he has it, okay? After the first year, you may return for $500 per event, okay? Now, let me just say this, folks, okay? All of that, none of this is worth a penny, okay? I wouldn't spend 2 red cents on this. All right, let's talk about it for a second, okay? I don't care if it's Ron LeGrand and his faculty, right? His hand-picked faculty. Who cares? Okay? You need to care what you're learning. That's what you need to know. What the fuck am I being taught? What is on the agenda? What's the curriculum? What are we going to learn on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? That's the most important thing. What's the curriculum? Okay, number 2. 2 for 1. Who cares? When you hear the price, you'll find out. And then, okay, you're going to learn the term system, right? Which is anytime, just so you understand, anytime you buy something with creative financing, seller financing, whatever you want to call it, you're basically buying on what we call terms. Why do we call it terms? Because you're making up the terms as you go. You're not dealing with the bank, who they're giving you the terms. You're doing the terms yourself. That's why we call it terms. Wholesale, retail, everything we try to do is wholesale. Buy low, sell high. That's what you do in real estate investing. Okay? 90-day helpline. Trust me when I tell you this. Okay? I see it all the time with my own students. I got doctors. I don't have doctors. I got nurses. I've got realtors. I've got IT people. I've got everyday people, walks of life. And you know what happens most of the time? They got work 40, 60, 80 hours a week. They may have 3 hours a week after they got the kids, the husband, the wife, the school, this, that, and the other thing, that they can work on real estate. Now, what can you do in 3 hours, 4 hours a week and actually be successful at? Not a lot. So you better, like, after you get educated, and this is what I tell them, right? We'll sit down and we will pull out a game plan. What do you do this hour? What do you do this hour? And what do you do this hour? We actually give you an actual game plan. What you do in this hour, so if you only got 4 hours, this is what you do in those 4 hours, okay? Now, is that going to make you successful? It's all up to you. How hard you work, right? And how persistent you're going to be. That's what it boils down to be honest with you. How educated you are and how much time and effort you put into it, okay? So what I'm telling you about the 90-day helpline is this. So you're going to go to the boot camp. You're all going to be gung-ho for the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The problem is the stuff that you're learning is such garbage. You're going to get hung up on. You're going to get frustrated, right? And you're going to be like, I just don't want to fucking deal with this. This is such bullshit. I wasted $5,000, okay? So, and the scripts. Let me tell you about scripts. And I got them. We can pull them up later on in the video. If you have to go by a script, you're already fucked. Goodbye. You're unsuccessful, you're a waste, and you're worthless. If you can't have a conversation with a seller and educate the seller on what you're trying to do without reading a script, you're toast because they know you're a fraud. Okay? I am telling you, you have to learn how to speak to sellers. You have to learn how to build a rapport with them. You have to know what to talk to them about, and then you have to educate them on what you're trying to do. Okay? Just reading off of a script, you sound like an idiot. You sound like an asshole. Nobody likes it. You sound like a salesperson, and you're going to get hung up on most of the time. Okay? So good luck with that. Trust me when I tell you that. All right? Free Peach for a year. Listen, you're going to be so frustrated after failing all the time, you're just going to chalk it up like, fuck it, I don't want to go back. Okay? I'm just telling you what's going to happen. Why? Because I have students that went to all this garbage. Why do you think I have all of this garbage? Because the people went there. Okay. This is how much it is. It's $4,000. This is with the 50% off. Okay? Because it's not. This is the final cost after the 50%. Okay? $4,999. You heard me right. $5,000. Now, do you honestly think you're going to learn anything for $5,000? Let me ask you this. If Ron LeGrand can make you do one deal in 4 days, and you make $25,000 to $30,000 off of that one deal that you learned how to do in 4 days, do you think that that's only worth $5,000? Right? No. It's worth $20,000 or $30,000. If he can teach you how to make $30,000 on one deal, it's at least worth $30,000. At least. But why is he charging $5,000? Because he knows he can get you, and you, all in there. If he charges $30,000, a real value, if it's really successful, nobody's going to go to it. Right? Because are you going to pay $30,000 in the hopes that you may do a deal? No. But you'll pay $5,000 and roll the dice, and knowing full well that you'll chalk it up because, you know what, I gave it a shot. Okay? I gave it a shot. And what are you going to learn over these 4 days? Okay? And listen, I spent probably 2 hours talking to the sales guy. And if you don't believe me, all you need to do is this, folks. This is all you need to do. Go on Ron LeGrand, quick start registration. Fill this out. Okay? Fill this out. Put your credit card in there, right? And watch how much it costs you. Here it is right here. Here you go. $54.95. $2,000 today and one payment of $4,000 30 days apart. There you go. It actually went up since the last time I got one of these. Right? $5,000. There you go. That's what you're going to get. That's okay. Now, what are you going to learn? So now that it actually went up since I got my postcard. So what are you going to learn? Okay, I'm going to tell you what you're going to learn. And I'm going to show you how it's such bullshit. Okay? And I'm not just going to tell you, I'm going to teach this to you, why it's bullshit, okay? So for 55, 59, how much is he fucking charging now? Jesus Christ. He's charging $5,500 if you pay now. Or you can do $2,000 now and then $4,000 in 30 days. Save yourself the money, folks. I'm going to teach it to you right now for the most part. Or I'm going to give you the overview. Because you're not going to get much more than that with this fella, okay, in 4 days. Do you honestly think you're going to learn anything in 4 days? What can you learn in 4 days? Because this is what he's teaching you. I'm just going to tell you. Because I'm telling you, talk to the person. And you can talk to them. Call them up. They'll tell you what you're going to learn. Don't take my word for it. Call them yourself. Here's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn subject to financing. Right? Buy houses, no money out of your pocket. Lease purchase options. The worst method under the fucking sun. And I'm going to show you why. You're going to learn trust, LLCs, private money, hard money, and if you get into it, flipping homes, right? Meaning that how to rehab a home. What she talked about that, right? How to rehab a home. Now, I just want to make this very clear. I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget it. I know I'm hammering this guy, Ron LeGrand. I don't know him personally, and I am not attacking the man. Let me make that clear. He could be a swell fella, right? What I'm attacking is the method that he's charging $5,000 for, okay? Now, I might not like the guy who's down the street selling watermelons because I don't like watermelons. But I don't mind the guy selling watermelons. What I don't like is a guy who's selling shit. Okay, I don't like the guy next to him who's selling 90-day-old watermelons that aren't right. They're fucking terrible. And they got fruit flies all in them. Okay? So I'm not attacking the man personally. Let me make that crystal clear. He may be a swell fella. Okay? I'm attacking the program. Okay? And one of the words that I did say, they called me, and I thought they wanted me to teach. Okay? And what they were talking about, their goals is learning how to buy and sell with no money down. Okay? That's basically what they were getting at. Now, I have some other stuff from their school, and I'm going to teach you some stuff. Don't worry, because I pulled some of their stuff off, right? And then I watched the video with him, and I'm going to show it to you, okay? Now, this is also a 3-day, just so you know, let me show this one to you, what I'm reading. This is a 3-day quick start real estate school, okay? Let me read this one to you. We'll just do the highlights, and then we'll get into it. This event contains behind-the-scenes secrets you'll uncover by actually getting involved in the process rather than trying to absorb in a lecture. We actually teach you. We coach you. We pre-screen school. Okay, so this is where they're going to do deals over the phone, right? How to make huge profits on nice houses. You pay almost full retail, right? How to live in a house 3 times your banker says you can't afford it. This is one of the big ones. How to avoid the due on sale clause. What does that mean? I'm going to get into that, right? Because they're doing subject to financing. How to have sellers begging you to give you their house for free. Okay, yep. Why fools personally guarantee loans and how you can avoid this unnecessary liability and forever, right? Meaning this. Okay, let me explain that to you, what he's saying here. By the way, my camera broke. I would have been able to put this on my document camera, and it broke the other day, so I bought one, and it was supposed to be here yesterday. I just got an email that it's not coming until like Monday. Today's Saturday, by the way. So I would have put this up there. So the highlight in here, it says in here, how to literally have sellers begging you, right? How to avoid the due on sale clause, okay? Why only fools personally guarantee loans and how you can avoid this unnecessary liability and risk forever, okay? How to protect yourself going in and out of real estate transactions and you can avoid costly problems. Learn a fast track, ditch your job within 90 days. If you honestly think you're going to ditch your job in 90 days, you're a moron. Don't ever quit your job, okay? Not until you got enough money coming in that money is taken in exchange of that job. Don't ever quit your days in 90 job on some promise like this. Okay? How to become a gatekeeper and live by your own rules and take orders from anyone else as long as you live. How not to take orders from anyone else, right? How to make sellers treat you like a pro even when they know you just started. I mean, okay. I mean, seriously. All right, so now a couple of things that he said there. How you can buy houses, no money down. Okay, he's talking about trying to do it subject to financing. But there's a difference between no money down and money in the deal. Okay, and I'm going to get into that in a second. He talked about the due on sale clause. What does that mean? Okay, that means this. When you're doing a subject to finance deal, and I'm going to show you on the screen, when you're doing a subject to finance deal, okay, I'm going to show you how the deal works. Don't worry. When you're doing one of these types of deals, the problem is that if the bank finds out that you did this, they can actually call it due. And why don't we save that for later, and I'll go over all this. So let's go over the three things that he's really going to teach you. The biggest one is subject to financing and then lease purchase option, okay? I'm going to take them in reverse order. I'm going to teach you the lease purchase option and then trust and LLCs, because that's what he's talking when he says this to you, just so you understand, when he says this, okay? He says this, okay? He says, why only fools personally guarantee loans and how you can avoid this unnecessary liability and risk forever. Okay, let me tell you about this first. I owned a mortgage company for 3 decades. That's 30 years, okay? For those who don't know what a decade is. And I am telling you right now, if you're going to get into real estate and real estate investing, you are going to personally guarantee the loan or you're not getting a loan. Okay? No, you're not. Now listen, he's talking about doing this. What he's talking about is putting it into a trust or an LLC. Now, and again, he's talking about doing it in subject to, putting it into a trust. That's what he's talking about. And I'm going to get into that. Don't worry. But what I am telling you right now, sure as shit, I'm telling you that any loan that you're going to get, okay? Because you're going to need to get loans at some point, no matter how you do all this stuff. At some point, you may need to get a loan. And if you do, you are personally guaranteeing it. I guarantee you that, okay? You're not getting it unless you want to pay a super high interest rate. And trust me, even the commercial loans want a personal guarantee. It means they want you signing the name. You're not getting out of that. Don't listen to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the 2 things that he mentioned in there that he teaches, okay? And then I'm going to show you how he structures it, the structure of it, okay? So the first thing is a lease purchase option. Now I'm going in reverse order, okay? A lease purchase option is this. I'm going to explain it, and then I'm going to show you on the board, so don't worry. Lease purchase option is a lease with an option to buy. So you're a glorified tenant. You don't own any property. You have an option to buy the property. It's a one-way contract, meaning this. You have the option to buy it, but the seller has to sell it to you. You don't have to buy it. Meaning this. And I gave this example to a student 2 nights ago. Let's say you get into a lease purchase option. You're just a young kid. You want to buy a house. You don't have any money. You get into a lease option, right? And it's a $100,000 sales price. And all of a sudden, it goes up to $120,000 in 2 years. Well, you don't have to buy it. You can assign the contract to somebody else, let them buy it, put 20 grand in your pocket, right? Now, that's your option. Or you can buy it, right? That's your option. Now, what happens the other way? You have a contract for 100 grand, but now the values went down, it's 90. Well, you can walk away. Okay, depending on the option fee. You don't have to buy it, the seller has to buy it. That's why we call it a one-way contract, right? Because you have the option to buy, the seller has to sell to you. All right? So it's a lease with an option to buy. Now, most of these fucking gurus, they use it on the back end, meaning they buy it using a subject to financing deal, then they sell it to a buyer using a lease purchase option. And I'm going to tell you right now why you should never, ever, ever use a lease purchase option on any deal, okay? And why do I say that? Because listen, if you want to actually sell your property, never use a lease option purchase. Why? Now again, I was a lender for 30 years, okay? The guy giving the money out, and I'm going to tell you why. There's only not only that, I was a real estate investor as well, okay? I owned a lot of property. And every time I read it with somebody with bad credit, I got my ass handed to me. So let me explain. So a lease purchase, a lease with an option to buy. Now, there's only 3 types of people that need a lease purchase option. 3. Let me explain who they are. Number 1, the people with bad credit. Now, they might not be bad people. They got bad habits. So what do? They say, listen, I can put a couple dollars down, but I got a 450 credit score, so I need to work on my credit. And then after I fix my credit up, I'll buy your house. So they say, okay, so now you enter into this lease purchase option. You're paying your monthly payment every month. But here's the problem. You don't fix your credit. You know why? Because people with bad credit have bad habits. They're not bad people. They just have bad habits. They never fix their bad habits. And on top of it, here's the other problem that you have, right? This is the other problem. I'm going to get a soda as we're talking. Here's the other problem. How many podcast hosts actually grab a soda while they're teaching? I do, right? Here's the problem, okay? Here's the issue. Just imagine you're somebody who's got shit credit, and you're just living with your parents. Now, all of a sudden, you got a $1,500, $2,000 lease purchase option payment. Now, how the hell are you going to fix your credit as you're making these types of payments, right? Most people do not. And you know why? They got bad credit because they got bad habits. They're just not good at paying bills, right? Sloppy pay, whatever the situation. Now, that's not everybody. It's 99% of it, okay? There's the 1% of person that something bad happened in their life, and now all of a sudden they got bad credit. Something happened where, whatever. They were incapacitated, right? But now they lost their job for a little while, right? But they're back to work. It was a short term. Now, you can see that on the credit report. It's only short term, right? The people that have the really bad credit, and that's who needs a lease purchase, people with bad credit. Trust me, they never close. And here's part 2 of that. Not only do they not close, okay, you're not going to get paid your rent. I guarantee you, 6 months into it, you're going to call on the 15th of the month and say, yo, where's the rent? It's the 15th. You're supposed to pay on the 1st. You got a 5-day grace period, so now you owe a late fee on top of it. And they're going to say, oh, my God, Vinny, I'm sorry. Listen, my mom passed away. She's in the hospital. I don't want to say she passed away. She's in the hospital. She's in bad shape. I completely forgot of it. Listen, I'll get it taken care of right away. Listen, man, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry. Listen, whenever you can, right? And at the very end of the month, you get a check. And now the 1st rolls around, and again, now it's the 5th, the 10th, the 15th, and you call back. Vinny, listen, I'm just getting caught up. Don't worry. Well, you don't get a check that month. And you're like, oh, motherfucker, now what? Right? So now you call up. Listen, man, you're 30 days late. Listen, Vinny, I know. Don't worry. I'm going to get caught up. I'm going to get you caught up, man. My apology. Again, my mother was very sick. You know that, right? I had to take care of her. Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't get paid. And then the next thing you know, they don't answer their phone. And it's 3 months, 4 months. And now, after the 3rd month, you're going to go evict them, right? And then they're going to fight you back, and you got to go to court. Trust me, you're not getting paid. And you got to hopefully that they don't squat. So trust me, if you want to sell your property, you never use a lease purchase. That's people number 1. Who's people number 2? Well, they're the ones that don't have any money. No money. Zero money, right? Because listen, if they had money, they wouldn't need to do a lease purchase. Now, would they? Right? Well, Vinny, they have money, but they got shitty credit. Okay, you're right. So now you're dealing with the people that I just told you, right? So now you got money down, but they never closed. So the money that you took and you spent, now hopefully you bought another property with it, or you're going to be spending money on an attorney or on court fees to evict the people, and you got to make your monthly payment. So you're going to be making at least 3 to 4 payments, maybe 5 or 6 by the time the judge finally kicks them the hell out of your house. So the money that you get up front, you better hold on to it because you're going to be making mortgage payments for it for the people that have bad credit, okay? So now the people that don't have any money but have good credit, okay? Well, they say they'll do a lease purchase, and what will happen? Okay, they want to buy it in 2 years. Okay, they never close. You know why they never close? Because nobody knows the guidelines of a lease purchase option. I do. You know why I do? Because I was a lender. Here's the rules and regulations of a lease purchase option. So let me tell you the scenario, and then I'll tell you how it works. So what they say is, listen, the sales price is $100,000, and $1,000 a month is what these townhouses are going for. So I'll $1,000 a month, but I will give you $200 a month credit towards the down payment. Okay, great. And we'll go to closing in 2 years. Okay, 2 years, no more. 2 years, that's it, max. Trust me, they're not doing a 3 or a 5 year lease purchase. No seller is. Okay? So you get a 2-year lease purchase and you're getting all this credit, and all of a sudden you go to a mortgage broker like I used to be, and I go and I'm like, well, listen, we got to send the appraiser out there. And by the way, we got to do a fair market rent analysis. And the $200 that you thought you were getting credit for, well, you got to better make sure that the rent was only $800 because you're paying $1,000. If $1,000 is the fair market rent, you don't get any credit because the only thing you get credit for, anything you pay over and above fair market rent. So what happens? The appraiser comes back and says, oh, the fair market rent for the last 2 years was $1,000. So you get zero credit. So then the seller says, oh, well, listen, I'll just lower the price by $5,000 to $10,000 so that you can buy it. Okay, well, you still don't have the down payment. So guess what? They never close. Because what has to happen? Okay, here's the way it has to go. Let me see if I can put it up on the board for you. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to show it to you, okay? I'm going to show you the way that it has to work, okay, for this to work. I'm going to show you how it has to work, okay? How it has to work. How it has to work, okay? So let's do it, okay? So now, let's just say it's $100,000. Whoops, it's a little thick there. $100,000 is the sales price. $1,000 a month was rent. Okay, that's what it was. Now, what you have to do is this. Number one, get the fair market rent analysis. Now, you're going to get that through an appraiser. Okay? And let's just say it's $1,000. Okay? Now, let's just say you need to put 5% down, plus you need 3% for closing cost minimum. Okay? So you need 8%. So you need $8,000. Okay? That's what you need. And the mortgage broker will tell you what you need. Okay, now, the fair market rent analysis comes back at $1,000. Okay, well, you got a 24-month lease purchase option. Okay, now you got to take that $8,000 and divide it by 24. Okay, so if we take our handy-dandy calculator and we do this, we go $8,000, divide that by 24, 8,000 divided by 24, right? That's $333. One of my favorite numbers, 33. Everybody knows me. Okay, so now you got to add that to the 1,000, and now you got to pay $1,333 for 24 months, and then you can get your credit and enough money for the down payment and the closing cost. So you have to pay. Now, how many realtors do you think know that? None of them. Trust me. I'm telling you that right now. They don't know it. They do not know the rules and regulations of lending. They're realtors. They're dumb. Okay? They're check chasers. So they don't know. Do you think a seller actually knows that rule? No, they don't, unless they're an investor like me that owned a lot of properties. So they don't know. And you as the buyer, you certainly don't know. Now, as an investor, I am telling you, don't do a lease purchase on the back end. What do I mean on the back end? I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay? That's the second set of people that need a lease purchase. So, first set of people, bad credit. Second set of people, they don't have any money. None of these people close. And if you don't believe me, just look up BlackRock or Blackstone, who bought out American Home Finance, who did lease purchases for $6 billion, and they shut it down. Why? Because they had more people evicted than they had closings. Why? Because lease purchases don't fucking work. Now, who's the last set of people? I said 3. Okay, here's the last one. The self-employed people. They don't qualify with their tax returns. So what do they say? Well, give me a 3-year lease purchase because I got to get 2 years of my tax returns, and we're already in this year. So I got to do next year's and the year after that. So I need a 3-year lease purchase option. The guy says, all right, I'm not going any more than 3 years though. Okay, fine. So we'll do $100,000, $1,000 a month, and I'll fix my taxes. Then when he goes to his accountant and says, listen, I'm doing a lease purchase, so I got to say that I'm making money. I know I show I'm only making $1,000 a year, but I need to make $42,000 to qualify for the house. And the accountant says to you, well, listen, Vinny, you do know that, as you made no money for the last 10 years, if you now all of a sudden make $42,000 and then you make $44,000 a year after that, and then all of a sudden you go back to making zero after you bought your house, you do know that you will be audited every year, right? Because that's such a red flag. It's a red flag of all red flags. Now, do you want to do that? And how many self-employed people do you know? I don't know if you know any self-employed people, but how many self-employed people do you know that don't ever want to pay taxes, all of a sudden they're going to go pay taxes for 2 years, 10, 12, 14 grand, just so that they can go qualify for a loan. How many of them do you think are going to do that? You got it right. 0. Especially when their accountant tells them that, oh yeah, when you do this and you got to go back, they're going to start auditing you. How many do you think are going to take that chance? You're right. 0. So how many people with fucking self-employed people actually close on a lease purchase option? You're right again. 0. So now, if you want to do a lease purchase option on the back end of a subject to financing deal, you are just like, you're roadkill. What's roadkill? Go watch my video on roadkill. You're roadkill, meaning that you are an unsuccessful real estate investor and all your money just got shit down the toilet. Okay? That's what roadkill is. So now, I don't care how much you learn about lease purchase options. Okay? I just gave you the 30,000 foot overview, and I'll give it to you again. Okay? Here it is again. Okay? And this is what you're going to learn over a couple days. So here you go. Lease purchase option. It's 2 contracts. It's a lease with an option to buy. So basically it's a lease, like you're renting the property, and then it's a standard agreement of sale, right? As an option. I have the option to buy this property. Okay? Gives you no ownership. You don't get any tax write-offs, and they'll probably put in the lease that you're responsible for everything. Okay? You're responsible for every last repair in the house. Okay? And as a seller, that's probably what you're going to put in there. So you got this lease. Now, again, like I told you, there's only 3 types of people. Bad credit. They don't close. Okay? They have bad habits. They're not bad people, just got bad habits. Number 2, no money. Okay? Never close. And 3, self-employed. Okay? 0 close. And remember why I'm telling you why these are the only sets of people that use it. Because listen, if you have no money, let me explain this to you. If you have no money or very little money or a credit card, you could buy a house with no money down. Well, how do you do it? Listen, if you're a veteran, you go VA. If you live in a rural part of town, you can go USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. You could go FHA with a down payment assistance or a grant. And any good mortgage broker can teach this to you, okay? Or you come to the Golden Triangle Academy, right? Or the Real Estate Underground by Vinnie, which is also my Golden Triangle Academy is my school, okay? We teach this to you, okay? So lease purchase option. It's just, they're no good, okay? People that have money, but no credit. I mean, money, but bad credit, okay? Again, they need a lease purchase because they can't get a conventional loan, right? But here's the thing. They can also just wait 1 or 2 years, fix up their, if it was a temporary thing, they fix their credit, and then they go buy whatever they want in 2 years. So the people who have money and good credit, they don't need a lease purchase. The people who have no money but good credit, they don't need a lease purchase, okay? The people that have bad credit and the people that have no money and no credit and don't understand any of this, they need a lease purchase. Self-employed, they need it. Don't use a lease purchase, especially after a subject to financing deal, because you are just asking for trouble, okay? So there's your 30,000 foot overview on a lease purchase option. So, and he's going to spend at least 1 day teaching this to you. So remember, you got 4 days. If you spend 1 day on subject to, 1 day on lease purchase options, 1 day on structuring deals, 1 day learning hard money, private money, trusts, and LLCs. What else are you going to fucking learn? Seriously. What else are you going to learn? Okay? You got to structure deals. I'm going to show you that. Okay. That's the lease purchase option. Okay? Now, let's talk about the shit. That's the subject to financing. Okay? What is the subject to financing? All right, I'm going to teach you subject to financing. I'm going to give you the overview and I'm going to teach it to you. Okay? Well, let's put it up on the board. Let's do this. Okay. Now, this is the big thing that everybody teaches. Everybody. Oh, let me stand up for this. because this is just going to piss me off to no ends. Okay? Subject to financing. What does it mean? What is it? Okay. Subject to financing means this. You are taking somebody's deed off of them, subject to the financing that's already in place. Okay? Meaning this. There's no banks involved. This is not an assumable loan. Okay? Meaning you're not assuming somebody's loan and the bank's changing their names. There are no banks. There's no banks involved. So, yes, it is true. You could have bad credit. You could have no job. You could have no money. If you know how to structure the deal properly, you can get this done. But it's like getting hit by lightning as well. You can get hit by lightning too. You can do a subject to deal with no money down. Okay? So, you're just taking over somebody's payment with subject to the financing that's already in place, meaning the loan that they got. Okay, let me show you on the board how it works, and then I'm going to show you the itty-bitty details that they leave out. Okay? Because here's what they all do. They all teach it from the eyes of the buyer. Look how easy it is. All you got to do is take over somebody's payments. Let me show you how to structure the deal. But you got to remember this, ladies and gentlemen. It's the seller that says yes or says no. The seller, not the buyer. Okay, so you have to put it in your head. Would I do this deal? If I was a seller, would I do this deal? And when you say no, trust me, all the other sellers say no too. Why? Because it's a shit deal. And then you say, well, yeah. Just because some guy on YouTube or is charging you $5,000 doesn't mean it happens, okay? He's selling a program for $5,000. And if it was making $20,000 per deal, don't you think he should charge at least $20,000 or $30,000 or more per deal? Because that's what it's worth, right? If you do one deal, you paid it back 4 times over. Why wouldn't you charge more money, right? It's just the way, that's just normal everyday thinking. Okay, let me show you how this works. Okay, subject to financing. Okay, so here we have over here is what we call the motivated seller. They better be motivated to do this. Another word really is really desperate. Okay, that's what this would be. Okay, they have a house with a fair market value, let's say $200,000. Let's say owed $180,000. Let's say PITI 1,033. Anybody knows my 33 is my favorite number. All right, and let's say they've got 26 years left. Okay, so they've been paying it for 4 years. All right, and here you are. And you come along and you want to do a subject to financing deal. Okay, that's what you want to do. Now, here's the way that it happens. The seller will transfer the deed. Okay? Now, there's a few different ways you can transfer the deed. My personal way that I would always do it would be through a warranty deed, but they'll teach you how to do it through a cheap old quick claim deed, which is not the way you want to go. Okay? So, now, motivated seller transfers the deed. Now, let me explain something. Let me explain this to you. Here's the difference between a car and a house. A car, the bank has the title until you pay it off in full. When you pay it off in full, you get the title. A house, if you live in a judicial state, you get the deed to the property. You have it in your possession. Here's my deed. This is my deed. The bank puts a lien on the property, so they have a lien on it, but you have the deed, okay? So now you transfer the deed to the buyer, okay? Mr. Motivated Seller transfers the deed, okay? However, this loan right here stays in the seller's name. Okay? Stays in the seller's name. Just taking over the payments or taking the deed to the property with the finance, subject to the finance that's in place. This is the financing that's in place. Okay? So now you will be making $1,033 a month payment. Okay? You'll be making that payment. So instead of instead of going to a bank, getting a 30-year loan for $200,000, right, at 7%, you can get a 26-year loan at $1,033 at a lower rate, okay? And you're not getting a bank involved. So no qualify, you have bad credit or this, that, or the other thing, you don't have it, okay? So that's all that it is. You're taking over the deed subject to the financing that's in place. The loan is staying in the seller's name. Now, it sounds easy, right? It's simple. You're just taking over somebody's property. Let me tell you what happens. I want to ask you this. Well, let me tell you two other things. So the loan stays in the seller's name. Problem number one, right? Problem number two, if the bank finds out that you did this, they're going to do what is called call the note due. What's the note? Okay, let me show you this, okay? Anytime that you get a loan from a bank, okay, I want to show you this because this is very important that you know this. You don't have to know it thoroughly, just know it. Okay, so here's Mr. Bank, right? And you want to get a loan to buy this house. You put 5% down, okay? Let's say at $100,000, okay? This is Mr. Seller. It's a normal transaction, okay? So you got $5,000 down, and Mr. Bank is going to give you $95,000, okay? So between you and him, you're going to give the seller $100,000. Mr. Seller is going to give you the deed, and you purchase the property. Now, Mr. Banker is going to make you sign papers. What papers? A note, a mortgage, a HUD-1, and a bunch of CYA papers, cover your ass papers, right? So now, these are the most important documents. Now, I'm going to go over it one more time. Now, the note, this is the IOU, okay? I owe you, Mr. Banker, $95,000 at 7% for 30 years, okay? That's the note. The mortgage, okay? This is the security. So if you do not pay this, they can come and get the deed. And that's what the mortgage says in there. Hey, it says maintain your payments, maintain your property, maintain your taxes, maintain your insurance. Oh, and if you don't, we're going to come and get our house, right? And if you live in a judicial state, we're going to go through the courts. If not, we're going to go to the trustee and get it back, right? And then the HUD-1, or now called a closing disclosure, sorry. This is just the money, and then you have all these other disclosures. These are the most important papers. Now, if the bank finds out that you did a subject to financing deal, meaning that you're taking somebody's payments over and the deed got transferred to you, there's a clause in there that's called an acceleration clause, or what they also call it as a due on sale clause. Meaning this, if you did this, they can call the note due. What does that mean? Okay, the bank that you owe the money to, they're going to call you and say, you owe us this money now because you broke the contract. It is not illegal, meaning you didn't commit a crime. You just broke the contract. Now, if you don't pay us off in 30 days, we're going to foreclose and get our money, okay? So now, put yourself in the seller's shoes, okay? Number one, were you going to hand your keys off to somebody that you don't know, sign your deed over to them, keep the loan in your own personal name as now they own your property? If the bank finds out, they're going to foreclose on you, or if they don't find out and you want to go buy another house in 2 years, you have to qualify with that loan in your name. Now, people say, oh, no. As long as you can prove that somebody else is paying. No, that's not true. I'll prove that myth too. There's a lot of myths out there with the subject too. So when Ron LeGrand goes in here and he says this, right? He says, how to avoid the due on sale clause so you can buy where others can't. What he's talking about is that. How do you avoid the banks calling the note due? Well, they twist like pretzels to get around that due on sale clause so that the bank doesn't find out. And what are some of the tricks that they do? Well, put it in a trust. And that's why he says, don't ever put it in your personal name. Because why? Because if they do this and the seller gets pissed enough and calls the attorney, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get sued. They're going to call the feds, and it's just going to go sideways a million different ways. Okay? So that's why he says put it into a trust, into a land trust, right? So this way, this way you are not personally responsible for it. Okay? The trust is. The trust owns it and not you. I would not do this in an LLC at all, because trust me, any good attorney will crack an LLC in 10 seconds. So that's a do on sale clause. So now I want you to put yourself in the seller's shoes. Would you hand your keys over to somebody you don't know, keep the loan in your name, sign the deed over, worry about the do on sale clause, and fuck, if I got to buy another house, I have to qualify with this in my name? No, you wouldn't do it. Now, what seller would do it, right? Not many. So I don't care who you listen to. I don't care who you watch on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. You can't go get subject to finance. Go try it and see how many times you get hung up on, okay? And you think you're going to do it. Now, let me show you what these clowns say happens. I'm going to show you how the deals get structured. Then I'm going to tell you about a story about one of my students, okay? So, any questions that you have, put it down the bottom. I'll answer every question, okay? So let me show you how these deals try to get structured. Now, let me show you back in the old days how it used to happen, okay? I'm going to use the same scenario. So here you have the seller, okay? Here's the seller's house. Fair market value, $200,000. Owes $180,000. PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, that's your monthly mortgage payment, say $1,033 and 27 years left. Or we'll say 24 years left, okay? And you're over here. This is the buyer. And now, by the way, let's say here's the banks, okay? ABC Bank, okay? And the rates, let's say the rates are at 9%. They're close to that. It's like, what are they, 6, 7 right now? I don't even know what they are, okay? So now, instead of going to the bank and getting 9% at 30 years, you could go to the seller and say, look, I'm going to give you $20,000 down. Why? Because this is what he's asking. That's the ask price, okay? And you're willing to pay it because it's a great house in a great neighborhood in the school district you want to be in with everything you're looking for. And at $200,000, it's actually a little undervalued, so you'll give the $20,000 down. So you pay the $20,000, and then you take over this payment, okay? And you say, as soon as the rates come down, right, to 7, 6, 5, 4, I'll pay it off, okay? Now, they don't worry about the due on sale clause. Why? Because if the bank calls the note due, he'll just refinance and pay it off. He has the ability to pay it off. But guess what also he did? He also put $20,000 down. Why? Okay, let me ask you this. Can you do subject to with money down? Yes, you can. You can. Why? What is the only thing in a deal for the seller? They only have one thing in a deal, and that's the equity, right? The money that they have, the difference between what it's worth and what they can sell it for, right? Or I'm sorry, what is owed and what they can sell it for, right? Or the value, right? So what they owe and what it's worth, right? That's the equity, okay? So if there's $20,000, they want to get it out. So now in this situation, you gave him the $20,000 and he says, okay, well, I got all my equity that I need. I can move on. And the guy got pre-qualified. He's got good credit and he can refinance if something happens. Why? Because there's some equity in it right now. There's 20% equity, right? So worst case scenario, he refinances and gets out of it. Okay? So that's a normal kind of like subject to deal. Now, the way the gurus do it is they do it this way. And we'll use the same scenario. Okay? So here's Mr. Desperate Here's Mr. Desperate Seller. Okay? Fair market value is $200,000. Owed $180,000. PITI 2033, and 24 years left. Okay? And you come along as the investor. Okay? And you want to buy this. Okay? But you have zero money. Now, the seller says, listen, I'll do it, but I want my $20,000. I'm not using a realtor, so I'm not knocking off the fee. I just don't want to use a realtor. I can do it all myself. The house is worth 20 grand. There's nothing wrong. There's not a thing wrong with it. It's worth 200 grand all day. It's probably worth 210, right? But I'll sell it at $200,000, right? I want my $20,000 in equity. Okay. Now, how are you going to get this deal done? Okay. There's only a couple ways to get a subject to finance deal done. Okay. This is not, by the way, this is like the simplest way of doing deals too. This is not rocket science, because all you got to do is take care of the equity. Now, how are we going to take care of this equity? It's $20,000. Okay. Number one, you have to pay it somehow, some way. Now, can you borrow from hard money and private money? You could try, but good luck. Why? Because remember how we talked about the bank being in the first lien position when we went and borrowed the money, right? So the bank, when we borrowed that money and we signed a note and the mortgage and the bank has the security, well, that's what they do is they put a lien on the property, which means they're in the first lien position. Now, a hard money lender or a private money lender will never, very, very rarely, it's got to be like a super low loan to value, meaning that if the house is worth $100,000 and there's only $30,000 owed on it on the first, yeah, they would go behind that because it's very, very low risk. Take this scenario. It's $200,000 owed $180,000 and you want to borrow $20,000 and go in the second lien position. A hard money or a private money lender is going to tell you no way. It's way too risky. They don't go into the second lien position. Okay? They do. You can go talk to as many hard money lenders as you want. They will not go into the second lien position. Hell, they only like being in the first lien position at a 60 to 70% loan to value anyway. So good luck trying to get them into a second lien position, okay, behind a subject to financing deal. So you got to either pay it, credit cards, whatever, okay? You got to somehow pay that $20,000. Now, there's creative ways of doing it, and that's part 3. So part 1 is you pay it. Now, we just said you had no money. Okay, what's number 2? Number 2 is getting the seller to take the note back, meaning take a seller second. Meaning that you do it on terms, $20,000, right? And what you do is you say, okay, give this Mr. Seller, I'll pay you the $20,000. I don't have $20,000 right now, but I'll pay it off in like 5 years. Meaning that I'll take $20,000 and divide it by 60 months. Now I know it's no interest, but so you take $20,000 and you divide it by 60. Okay, so that's, again, $333 a month. It's my lucky night. I'll pay you $333 a month for 60 months, and then that'll pay the $20,000 off. Now, what's the likelihood the seller's taking that? Right, exactly, 0, okay? So if the seller's not going to take a seller second, and I'm going to tell you about one of my students' deals, that's next. The other way to do it is creatively. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, this is where you got to start using your mind a little bit, all right? So now you got to structure the deal like this, okay? And I don't know if Ron LeGrand teaches this or not, okay? He may not. I don't know, okay? Because trust me, I'm not paying $5 grand to learn this bullshit. Because you're not getting it done anyway, so you can forget about it. Okay, so here's how it works. By the way, if you find somebody who's willing to do this and you want to do it, call me up. I'll do it for free for you. I'll help you, right? I'll help you do it, okay? Because I'll applaud you that you got it done. I'll be so impressed you got it done. I will little help you do it. If you find somebody who's willing to do it with no money, call me up. Or even if you have money, you can do it with money. I'll help you do it. Okay, no problem. I'll give you all the paperwork you need, everything that you need, and I'll walk you through it step by step. I'll be proud of you. Okay? So, and then I'll teach you along the way. No money, not one penny, not a dime. We'll do it together. Okay? All right. So this is how you do it creatively. So now you go to Mr. Seller, you say, Mr. Seller, listen, I'm going to buy your house subject to financing. I know you want $20,000. Listen, I'm an investor. Let's sign a contract. Give me 30 days to find, somebody who's going to live in here, right? Now, what Ron LeGrand would have you do, and I would not, I'm not going to tell you how I would do it, but what they would tell you to do is this. Now, again, I hate lease purchases, so I would never structure it under a lease purchase, okay? So what you can do is you go out there and you advertise the house for sale by owner, right? $20,000 down, credit, no problem, no issue, no nothing, right? No banks involved, but you must have $20,000 to put down and you can own the house, right? And you'll sell it to them under a lease purchase option. Now, me personally, I wouldn't sell it under a lease purchase option, but if they have bad credit, okay. But this is why I'm telling you, you're setting yourself up for a lot of failure, okay? So now you get a phone call. You say, hey, listen, I got $20,000 and I want to buy the house, right? I got shitty credit. That's okay. Why? Because you're thinking, oh, I'll just get them out, right? And I'll sell it to I'll just rent it out, but I need the $20,000. So I don't care who I get in there now, because later on, who cares? I'll get them out and I'll just put a good tenant in there, right? Because you're never going to get somebody who's going to rent the house out and give you 20 grand. So you gotta find somebody like a lease purchase who will put money down, who's got shit credit, right? So you find somebody, okay, great. Now you give them the $20,000 down. You take over the property subject to financing, right? Everything's fine. Great, handy dandy. Now you turn around and sign a lease purchase option with the person who gave you the 20 grand. Okay. Now remember what I told you this. They probably have shitty credit. And now, after 6 months, like I told you, they stop paying. Now the $20,000 that you got down is already out of your hands. You don't have the $20,000 anymore. Now they stop paying you. Now you're responsible for making these payments, because if not, you're going to go to foreclosure. So you got to make the payments. So now you're making the payments. Why? This jerk off is in there not making payments to you. Yeah, he gave you $20,000, but like I told you, they got shit credit, they got bad habits, and now their habits caught up to them after 6 months. They're not paying you anymore. So what do? You start evicting them. But you know what they do? Their brother-in-law's an attorney. And they say, absolutely not. You can't evict us. You got to go through the courts, because this is now a purchase. You got to foreclose on us. You're like, no way. Absolutely. We got equitable ownership. That's what they're going to argue. And you're going to have to go to court and fight it, because you're not, trust me, when you sign a lease purchase, do not think you're going to go down to court and just file for an eviction to get them out. Not when they put money down like this. I am telling you, you are going to go to court. And they're going to tell you, yeah, this guy's equitable ownership. He's got $20,000 down. And now you're going to have to foreclose on him to get him out. And you know how long that's going to take? About 2 years. I hope you got enough money to cover that mortgage payment for 2 years, because if not, but Vinny, who cares? It was subject to. The deed's not in my name. You're right. But now you're a fucking scumbag for fucking ruining this person's credit and life, because you're a shitty-ass investor that listened to fucking Ron LeGrand. That's what you fucking are, a piece of shit that listened to some other piece of shit that told you to structure it like this, when Vinny tells you, don't ever fucking do a lease purchase option, because they fucking suck. Because that's the people that you get. And now you get everything you deserve because you don't listen. You listen to the wrong people. So, you don't do these types of deals, because all you're doing is setting yourself up for trouble. Now, let me show you a deal that I had to write down 2 or 3 times that he said he did. Okay? Any questions? Put it down there. Oops, sorry. Any questions? Put it down there. I'll answer anything that you have. I will answer every question. Okay? I'll answer them all. And again, if you got a deal like this and you need help, I will help you. But I will help you structure it the right way, not a way to get screwed. Okay. Let me show you a deal that Mr. Guru said he did. Okay? And I'm just going to see if you believe it. All right? Okay? Okay. You tell me if you believe it. Now, listen, I didn't get in yet to like the difference between a warranty deed and a quitclaim deed and all that stuff. And also, how do you do the actual subject to financing deal? I didn't even get into that. I'm only giving you the quick overview, okay? There's a lot to teach here. And, I have, by the way, I have videos on subject to financing. Please watch them, okay? So let me show you this deal. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you. This is a deal that Ron LeGrand came right out of his own mouth. And I wrote this down. I'm like, did he just say what I thought he said? I had to go back and watch it and write it all down. So let's take a look at it, and then you tell me if it is real. You tell me if this is real, okay? Here we go. So he started out by saying he bought a house, purchased it. That's buying a house. Had a fair market value of $250,000. That's what it was worth, as is sitting there. The people owed $182,000 on it. They were making monthly payments of $1,582. They were only asking $183. Why? It only needed $3,000 in repairs. He paid $2,500 in closing costs, and he put that on a credit card. So again, he said zero money down. Okay? Well, $2,500 is not no money down, but we'll let that slide for a second. Okay? Now, what I did is, because I want to do quick math here, where's my piece of paper? All right, I'll just use the calculator. Okay, so that's the purchase. So he said that he bought the place for $183 under subject to financing deal. Can I ask you something? What is the difference from $183 minus $250? That is $67,000. Can I ask you something? If you own a house that only has $3,000 in repairs, okay? $3,000, what is he repairing? A fucking toilet? A little bit of paint? Some rugs? What? $3,000 is nothing. Zero. Why are you selling a house for $67,000 less than what it's worth? Why? 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 Can you answer me why? I don't hear an answer. Why is somebody selling their house $67,000? It only needs $3,000 in repair. These are not my words. This is Ron LeGrand. Now, what he said happened is 18 days later, 18 days, not even, it's like 2.5 weeks. He sold it for $269. Even though I'm trying to wrap my, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. I think I'm a pretty intelligent guy when it comes to real estate, right? And I'm just trying to think of why somebody sees a house, knows it's only worth $250, he's willing to pay $270 for it. So he's telling you that he paid $67,000 undervalue, but the next guy 2 weeks later is going to pay $20,000 overvalue for this house. What? Okay. Yeah, okay. Got $30,000 down, which means what? That should tell you right away, shitty credit. That's what it tells you. You can eliminate the people that have no money because they're putting 30 down. So it's either 1, shitty credit, or 2, self-employed. Okay? And 99% of the time, it's shitty credit. Okay? Shitty credit. So $30,000 down. Okay? $2,000 a month on a 2-year lease purchase, which means it's a 2-year balloon, meaning it's all due in 2 years. So $269 minus 30, it's $239 is due in 2 years under a lease purchase option. Now, I've already told you lease purchase options suck ass. So let me tell you what he said he did again. Let me recap this and then we're going to talk about it. Okay? It's only worth $250. He got it for $182 because that's all they were really asking for. $67,000 less with basically nothing wrong with it. Why? First off, why is anybody just giving their house away for $67,000 less? Everybody tries to get as much money out of their house as they can. Okay? Okay. Then you sold it for $269, 18 days later. $30,000 down. All right. So here's my question. Right? Number one, how are they going to get out of the lease purchase? Meaning this. In 2 years from now, these people, whoever they are, that just put $30,000 down, they have to go get a loan. Okay? They have to go get a loan from a bank. And they have to pay off this purchase. Now, the first thing is that it may or may not even appraise for $250,000. Right? You owe $240,000 on it. So you're totally maxed out on, you're actually over your loan to value. Meaning that you can't get a loan on it, or you can, you're just maxed out on your LTV, totally maxed out. You got to lower the sales price a little bit, but you have no money for your closing cost. Right? So how are they closing there, number one? Number two, I guarantee you with the shitty credit, they're never going to close with their shitty credit. But my question is why is somebody paying $20,000 more than what it's worth? Because they're getting a lease purchase option? Listen, with $30,000 down, they can go to any seller and say, hey, would you do a lease purchase? I'll give you $30,000. They don't have to get stuck with this. By the way, if this house was on the market, why didn't they talk to the people before? They were just trying to get out of it. Of what they owed. They owed 182. They sold it for 182. I'm sorry, 183. They owed 183. They sold it for 183. Right? They didn't make any money. Matter of fact, they lost money on the deal. They lost money. How do they lose money? Well, who's paying the closing cost? Right? Well, Ron said he's only paying $2,500. Well, is that both parties? How much is the transfer tax? The transfer tax on 250's got to be more than that, right? You got to transfer that. Oh my God. You got transfer tax, you got recording fees, you got title fees, right? Unless you're not doing any of that. And if you don't do any of that, you are the worst real estate investor ever. If you don't pull title, if you don't get title insurance, if you don't get a home inspection, and you don't do a warranty deed, you should just, you deserve everything you get. Okay? Because you're not doing things the right way. And it will bite you in the ass. Trust me, it will bite you in the ass. Okay? So now, how in the world how do you buy things $70,000 undervalue, and sell it for $20,000 overvalue? Do you honestly think that happens? I mean, come on. Where's the sell? Like, I've been doing this 40 years. I am telling you, that's so rare. So rare. Okay? That's malarkey. Okay? Come on. And here's the problem. Do you think when this doesn't go to closing in 2 years, for whatever reason, either because their credit's still not good enough, or B, the house doesn't appraise, right? And you try to kick them out, what kind of a fuss do you think is going to happen? You think they're just going to walk away from $30,000? You're out of your mind, right? And the other thing is like, I am telling you, the people with shitty credit, in 6 months, you're not getting paid anymore. I'm telling you, you're not getting paid. Okay? All right. Now, let me do this. Give me a second. Oh my God. Where's the fucking... I tried to pull out another deal that he said he did. It was very... Well, here it is. Okay. I got another deal for you. Okay. Just give me a second. I'm going to show it to you. All right. All right, hold on. I got it. Just give me a second. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you all this, okay? And again, trust me. Trust me when I tell you this. When I research people, I dig into them, okay? All right? I do my due diligence, okay? I just don't say they're good, they're bad, and I don't prove it. Okay. So, unfortunately, my document camera broke, okay? So I'm going to show you this real quick. And then I'm going to put it on the board right here with me, okay? So bear with me. And I apologize. If my document camera works, okay, we would do it. Okay. Let me put it up on the board, okay? So this is another deal that he said, okay? Now, he calls it ARV. What's ARV? After repair value. Let me tell you something. I will pull up an appraiser. Well, let me tell you this story. I'm going to tell you a quick story, right? Let me tell you a quick story. So I'm teaching class, and it's packed. And I bring an appraiser in who's got 30 years experience. And I say to him, I said, hey, can you tell the class about ARV? Because I say to my people, listen, when you're in class, do not say ARV to me, okay? Because I don't use guru terminology, okay? The proper terminology is fair market value subject to repairs or cost to cure. That's the professional world that I come from, okay? Because in an appraisal, you'll never see what is called ARV. That's street slang. Now, if you want to say it, afterwards, whatever, just learn how to say things the right way, okay? This is guru talk, ARV, right? So the appraisal came in, and I said, hey, Scott, why don't you tell the group about, what your thoughts are on using the term ARV versus other terms? And he's like, what are you talking about? Right? And he had no idea. And he's like, well, what do you mean? What's ARV? And they're like, come on. He's like, no, what are you talking about ARV? I'm like, oh, you don't know what it is? He's like, come on. And he goes, stop fucking with me. And my laugh, and he's like, listen, seriously, what the fuck do you mean by ARV? I'm like, you never heard of ARV? He said, what is it? After repair value? He said, what is that? Street slang? Like, no, never heard of it in my life. So this is not how we talk. I will show you an appraisal. You won't find ARV in any appraisal. It's guru talk, right? It's called fair market value subject to the repairs, or what we call cost to cure, okay? I mean, ARV, whatever. I mean, it's guru slang bullshit, okay? So ARV, after repair value, okay? $225,000. By the way, this is right out of his book, by the way. Okay? They owe 182, almost the same fucking things with 24 years left. 1282, PITI. 182 is the new loan amount that he took. No repairs. So let me ask you something. Again, the same thing. Who's selling their house with no repairs that's worth $225 for $182? Right? So what is that difference? I mean, I'm not good at counting, but I mean, that's a pretty penny, right? What is that? $225 minus $182? Right? So somebody's giving up $43K in equity for what reason? Why are they giving it away? It needs no repairs. I'm not making it up. That's what it says on his fucking page. That's his page, not mine. That's his page, not mine. That's what he's saying, okay? Then he says he sold it on a lease purchase option, or what he calls a lease option. Ready? $229. Again, more than what it's worth. $20K down. $1,700 a month. 2-year lease option. Okay. Again. How? Who's doing that? Trust me when I tell you, when you put a lease option in there, I'm telling you the people that you get. And I'm telling you they're not closing. If you don't believe me, go do this. Go do it and see how successful you are doing this. Okay? I only owned a couple hundred homes. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't care. Okay? So, again, his words, terms, right? The new world of real estate investing. Listen, the word terms have been around forever. It just means that you're buying it on terms. It means you're creating your own terms. You're creating your own stuff, right? Everything is negotiable. Everything's negotiable. Operate your business without raising money, banks, large overhead, employees, or other costly entanglements. He's talking about subject to financing, taking over somebody's payments. Good luck with that. Now, how would your life change if you could add $20,000 a month to your current income working part-time? Yeah, if you think you're going to work part-time and make 20 grand, good luck with that. Now, again, if you can make $20,000 a month, how much is his program? How much should he be charging for his program? Right? If I come to you and I say, listen to me, you're going to be making $20,000 a month. How much do you think my program's going to be? $5 grand? Are you out of your fucking mind? It's worth $100,000 or more. I'm going to show you how to make $20,000 a month. It's 240 grand. And you think I'm only going to charge you $4,000, $5,000? Okay. How anyone can get a $20,000 check in 60 days. No money, no credit, no license, no experience. You think so? You think you're going to get a check in 60 days and you don't know shit. You don't even know how to write an agreement of sale. And you think going to a 4-day boot camp, you're going to be able to talk to a seller, convince them to give up their deed with no money down, right? Give up your deed, keep the loan in your name, worry about the due on sale clause. Oh, and if I want to buy a house in 2 years, right, I got to qualify with that loan in my name. Submit your questions and I'll answer them. Listen, we answer questions all the time. That's what we do as a teacher. Fastest way to make money in real estate today. No money, no credit. Okay. Listen, again, I don't just go and say people are bad and their thing is bad. I look at it. I'm telling you, I've been doing this stuff for 40 years or close to 40 years. And what I am telling you is this, is that if you honestly think that you're going to go to a boot camp or you're going to join this class. Now, we're going to get into the class in a minute. We're going to pull that up. And you're going to learn subject to financing and lease purchase options and think you're going to be successful. You're out of your mind. Again, if you watch my subject to finance classes, you will see, I tell anybody, if you have a deal ready to go, I'll do it for free. Right? Well, I say I'll partner with you, right? We'll split it. But basically, I'll do everything. We don't make money until it closes, but I'm telling you, right? So now, that's the academy, right, that you're going to learn that. So, right? Now, do you honestly believe that those deals actually happen? Somebody's selling their property for $70,000 less, and then you sell it for $20,000 more? Do you think people are that fucking dumb? Oh, yeah, I'll pay you $20,000 more than what it's worth. You think so? I mean, seriously? Okay, now, let's get to the school. Right, the Gold Club. Okay. Okay. I got it right here. All righty, here we go. All right. All righty, Ron LeGrand, live reception application. This means you're going to have somebody else doing the work for you. They're going to call, right? They're going to have somebody calling for you, right? Now, oh my God, this is so unbelievable. Ready? All right, let me do this. If you hold on for 1 second. Oh, I don't know if I can do it. because I just bought a new printer and I don't know if it's set up. Let me see if I can do this real quick. See if I can scan it and send it to us, right? Let me see if I can do that real quick. Oh, my thing's not working. Hold on, right? I actually have a new printer coming tomorrow. So this one here, recommended package, $149 a month, includes 250 live answer minutes per month, 5 local or toll-free numbers, $149 setup fee. And what is this for? This is for a live receptionist will answer all of your calls 24/7 according to your scripts. They will pre-qualify your leads, answer your FAQs, and save you money, valuable time, right? Here's this. Let me read this to you. This is a seller call, okay? May I get your name, please? Your phone number, including the area code. What do you think your house will appraise for? What are you asking for the house? What do you owe on the house? How did you hear about us? What's the address? When do you want to move? Are your payments current or behind? Does the house need any repairs? If you're using a virtual assistant, do you have a house for sale? What's your phone number, cell number? What's your address? What's the best time to call you? Right? Oh, by the way, the first one was not using a virtual assistant. So the virtual assistant just gives you basically, they only ask 4 questions. Okay, now, for an unlimited package, which is $3,000, right, you get this sample script, the buyer call. Ready for this? If not using a virtual assistant, so if you're not using a virtual assistant, this is your script. May I get your name, please? Your phone number, including the area code. In which area are you looking to buy a house? How many bedrooms and baths would you like? What is the maximum monthly payment that you can afford? How much money do you have for down payment? Are you ready to buy now? How soon are you looking to move? Is your credit good, bad, or ugly? If using a virtual assistant, are you interested in buying a house? What's your phone number, cell number? What's the best time to call you? Because the virtual assistant will then hand you off the lead so you don't have to work, right? Now, I have to tell you, if you can't do your own work, honestly, if you can't do your own work, hold on for 1 second, my printer's going crazy. If you can't do your own work, right, you have to literally, right? If you can't do your own work, right? If you can't do your own work and make your own phone calls, you're a lousy real estate investor, okay? Because how are you ever going to get good at doing it if you have somebody else? I mean, it's terrible. All right, let's keep going here, right? Then listen, you don't have to go with building a script, okay? You should never use a script. All right, now here's the Gold Club. Let's take a look at it, all right? Our virtual assistants are fully trained on completing a property information sheet, whether from finding and calling for sale by owners. Here's the other thing. Do you honestly think for sale by owners are desperate people? They're not. They just don't want to use a realtor, right? From other marketing, yellow letters, ads, and signs. Do you honestly think anybody's going to answer a yellow letter? Do you honestly think anybody is going to answer a yellow letter? Seriously. No. Nobody is going to answer a yellow letter. You know what I teach my students? I wonder if I can find it real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you what I teach instead of a yellow letter. Okay? Let me show you what I teach instead of a yellow letter. Because listen, there's nobody who's going to... What would you do if you got a yellow letter in the mail? That's right. You're going to throw it right out. Right? That's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to throw it in the fucking trash. That's what you're going to do with a yellow letter. Okay? Nobody's going to answer your yellow letter. It's going to go in the trash because it's a piece of junk mail. No one's going to do it. So what do I teach my students? Okay, I said, if you want to send a letter to a seller, here's what you do. This is from a company called Crane & Company, right? Crane & Company, okay? And how about this? Tell me if you would open this up. Here's my letterhead, small little letter, right? And I'm going to send it in an envelope like this. It's very thick, by the way. It's almost like a wedding invitation, right? It's that thick. Now, if you got a letter like that in the mail and it's handwritten with a fountain pen, are you going to open that? You're damn right you're going to open that. Instead of seeing a yellow letter in the mail that every Tom, Dick, and Harry sends out. Are you seriously? This shit is pathetic. a yellow letter. I mean, seriously, okay? We also place your online ad screen buyers and many other tasks to save you time on your calls. Listen, if you can't answer your own calls or do your own stuff, write your own app, your own stuff, you're not a real estate investor. Because I am telling you, listen, I'm going to tell you another story, okay? I was on the phone with a guy. His name's Vinnie too, okay? Guy owns 90 some odd properties, and one of my students is trying to buy 7 of them. And my student was having an issue trying to buy them, right? Because he's young. He's 23 years old. He already owns 3 of them, right? Not from this guy. He owns 3. He's trying to buy more. So he's struggling. The guy don't want to deal with them. He doesn't want to sell them. So he said, can you call him? I call him. Now, he's the same age as me. I owned a lot of properties myself, the same neighborhood. We hit it off. We talked. And I told him, I said, Vinny, listen, man, come on. Both of us are 60 some odd years old, right? We don't want to deal with Section 8 properties anymore. Lay that to the young kids. And then I structured a deal for him. And he's like, you know what? Fine, done. Right? So it's 7 properties we're doing with 0 money down. No, it's not subject to financing. Okay? But we got 7 properties down. And so we started talking. Here's what he said to me. He goes, Vinny, you'll be amazed at the calls that I get. Okay? Now, this is an investor. He's got 90 properties. Real deal guy. Okay? This is what he says to me. He goes, Vinny, listen. He goes, you can't believe the calls that I'll say, yeah, I can. I said, what kind of call did you get? He goes, so I get a phone call, say, hey, we'd like to buy your house. No, it's a virtual assistant. We'd like to buy your house. And he's like, okay, well, which one? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, how many do you have? He's like, I got 90. Oh, okay, well, where are they? Because what do you mean? Where you called me? You called me. What do you mean, where are they? Right? But this is the kind of shit you get a virtual assistant, right? I mean, oh my God. I said, listen, they're calling every Tom, Dick, and Harry that they can find. You know what I mean? To try and give you a lead. That's all they're doing. Listen, worthless. There's other ways to get leads in. Okay? So, here's the best deal. Gold Elite Virtual Assistant. 40 hours of virtual assistant service. We call FSBOs. FSBO, that's for sale by owner, FSBO. And run your office. Email, real estate deal hotline, Ron LeGrand's automatic lead service. $997, $1,000 a month. Right? Your gold deal. 20 hours of VA service. We'll call your FSBOs for you, Ron LeGrand. So meaning they're just going to hand you leads that they called. Hey, do you want to sell your house? Yeah, I do. And then you call them up and they're like, I'm not fucking doing creative financing. You say you want to buy my house. I'm not fucking signing my deed over to you, asshole. Goodbye. That's what this is what I'm telling you what's going to happen. Okay, Ron LeGrand Gold Plus membership includes all gold. Now this is old, so the prices probably went up, right? Automatic leads, pay 1 year in full, $1,067. Gold Club membership. You get Ron LeGrand lesson videos, webinars and events, calendar mailings, open line Monday, question and answers, calls with Ron, right? That's pay year in full, $649, or pay monthly, $59, right? And if you go through all this stuff and you look and you actually read some of this shit, right? And I'm not talking about, right? And by the way, there's other fees that are in here. So please make sure you read this, okay? Because if you sign up for this, trust me when I tell you that, right? You're going to be paying more money than that, right? Here it is. Client agrees that use of all VA service time beyond monthly service cap for maintenance level time will be billed in hourly increments of $21 an hour, $5.35 a minute. Really? For what? I mean, come on. Listen, guys, trust me. Now, let's read what this is saying. I understand and agree that no guarantee has been made or could be made that I will actually consummate a transaction. Means saying, like, look, there's no fucking, you're not going to get a deal, right? I will, right, after class, or that I will be guaranteed any kind of money, that any kind of monetary refund, rebate, commission, or any other monies, right, if I don't. So they're telling you, listen, that's line number 1. I understand and agree that no guarantee has been made or could be made that I will actually consummate a transaction involving a property during or after the class, or that I will be guaranteed any kind of monetary refund, rebate, commission, or any other monies if I don't. And good luck. That's what I'm telling you. You think you're going to get your money back? You're not. I agree to send a letter or fax to GPI describing my success from what I learned and put in action from the event. The correspondence will take place 10 days at the close of the sale of the property, right? So meaning that, hey, if you do get a deal, we're going to post it all over the place to say how great we are. I understand and agree that any technique, form, trade secret, or agreement furnished by me and shared with the group can be reproduced and used at a later date. I further consent to the reproduction of any photographed or taped conversation, including testimonies agreed to use of the name of the same. Right? So, I mean, oh my God. I also understand by breaking this agreement, there will be absolutely no grounds for a refund of any kind. All fees will be forfeited, and I'll be asked to leave the training start event immediately. Right? So you have, like, listen. Good luck with trying to do, good luck. Good luck. It says in here, you will also learn 5 critical steps to making your real estate investment a business. Locating motivated properties, buyers and sellers. You become a guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla marketing. You're a gorilla, baby. A gorilla. Okay? Pre-screen prospects. You'll have a system that pre-screens and does the work for you automatically so you can spend your time on your business, not in it. Okay? If you don't spend any time in your business, I don't care what your business is, you think you're going to be successful if you don't spend any time in it? I mean, you honestly fucking think that? I mean, come on. Contract and present purchase and sales orders. Oh my God. If you don't know how to write an offer, that's basic 101, how to write an offer. If you don't know how to write an offer, I mean, come on. It's the key that unlocks the vault. There are a lot of ways to buy and sell houses, some right and many wrong. Yeah, like subject to financing and lease purchase option. They're so wrong, it's disgusting. We'll focus on only strategies that work for you. We'll make you a transactional engineer in 3 days and make it so simple to understand and implement it. You wish you'd been invited to this event last year. Do you honestly fucking think? Listen, I can teach you this stuff in 3 days too. Does that mean that you're going to be an expert at it and go out and do it? No. No. Listen, we can spend 10, 15 hours a day on subject to financing, structuring deals, telling you how it works. It's not that hard to get to understand how it works, how to structure it, how to write the contract. Because listen, you got to learn, not only do you, listen to what you have to do in these 3 days. First, learn the actual method, the structure. What I got to do, how does it work, right? I actually have something over here. Hold on. Hold on here. Let me show you something. I'm going to show you something. Okay? I'm going to show you something. Okay? So hold on here. Just hold on for 1 second. I'm going to show you something. Okay? And he just said in there that in 3 days, you're going to be a transactional engineer, right? Meaning that you're going to buy under subject to and sell under a lease purchase. Okay? I want to show you. This is my training material on subject to financing, okay? So when I teach people subject to, and listen, the only reason why I teach it, by the way, is because you need to know every method out there. If you want to be a real estate investor, you should know everything like the back of your hand. Subject to, lease purchase, purchase money, mortgage, wraps, all of them. Every different thing. Foreclosure, short sales, everything, right? BRR method, if you want to call it a method. Everything. You should know the difference between cash out, no cash out. You should know the difference between the loan to values of an owner occupied, 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, or 4 unit, the difference between commercial and residential, the difference between DTI and DSCR. You should know the difference between owner occupied, non-owner occupied, and second home. The loan to values between cash out, no cash out, 2 units and 4 units, right? You need to know all that, and it's all easy. But it takes a long time to learn it. And if you think you're going to learn it in 30 days, over 4 days, you're out of your fucking mind. Okay? You're not going to be a transactional engineer in 4 days. Okay. Now I'm just going to give you, right? By the way, here is the stuff that we teach here, right? Like, let me just show you this real quick. Okay? Now again, I have a video on subject to financing, so you can watch that. But this here is what we call the due on sale clause. Okay, this is in the notes, the IOU. Remember we talked about the IOU, the notes? That is exactly right there what it is, okay? Now, let me just show you something else, okay? By the way, remember how I said you got to qualify with the loan still in your name? Let's look at that. This is monthly debts paid by others, right? Monthly debts paid by others. And that's the rules and regulations that if you did a subject to financing deal, right? If you did a subject to financing deal, you're going to have to qualify with that in your name. Okay? So that's what it's telling you. Don't let the gurus tell you different. Okay. I'm going to give you, listen, this is the highlights. Okay? This is what you get right off the get-go when you come here, you learn subject to. Now, I'm going to go over it very quickly with you. Number one, keep it simple. You're just taking over the seller's mortgage. Let me give you the pros, give you the cons. The pros, there's no banks involved, so there's no credit or income. You get a better rate than the current rate. Remember, because you're doing it because rates are lower. You get a shorter term than a 30-year fixed rate. Instead of going to the bank, get a 30-year, they might be into it 5 years, and you're just taking over their payments, right? You have no risk because nothing's in your name. Remember that. Nothing's in your name. You're just taking over their payments, okay? Here's the cons. It's not a no money down transaction. You will need money, okay? At a minimum, you got to do title search and you got closing costs. You got to worry about the due on sale clause. You got to worry that the loan is staying in the seller's name, and the seller has to qualify with the old name in there. Now, prior to doing anything, these are the things that you need to research and do before you do a transaction. Number one, pull the title. Number two, do a home inspection. Number three, know what the fair market value and fair market rents are. Why? Because you don't want to overpay for a house, and you want to make sure that in the worst case, you got to rent it out. You're going to cover your mortgage payments, okay, with taxes and insurance. That's why you got to review the seller's mortgage information so that you know, okay, is the taxes and insurance escrowed or are they paying it separately? And how much is it? And are they behind on it, right? And that's why you got to review their taxes and insurance. Now, at the transaction, here's some of the things that you need to do. You need to have, you better get title insurance. You need to know how to change your homeowner's own insurance over to a renter's policy, but keep it in the seller's name. If you want to put it in your name, well, either you're going to put it in your name, an LLC, or a trust, right? You got to make sure the agreement of sale is signed by everybody who's on the deed. That's why you got to pull title, right? Because that'll show you who's all on the deed. Get all the addendum sides. You got to make sure you get the authorization to release information to speak on the seller's behalf. You also need a limited power of attorney specific to the transaction. All the parties on the deed, okay? Now, at the closing, right? Do a warranty deed instead of a quitclaim deed, right? Make sure the deed is signed. Well, the deed will be signed over a transfer, HUD-1, right? You're going to, most of these guys get a CYA letter. I'm not a big fan of that. You get the escrow letter, the mortgage statement, right? A lot of them do this property management fee stuff. So my point is that you need to know how to write an agreement of sale. You need to know how to read a title. You need to know how to read an appraisal. You need to know how to order a home inspection, right? You need to know how to do all these things. And do you think by going to a 4-day boot camp or doing this stuff, you're going to learn it, especially if you get some stupid virtual assistant? Like, to me, that makes no sense at all. You need to learn this stuff and then you go out. And trust me, I'm just telling you from experience, from owning a lot of homes, being a landlord, many years, doing a subject to financing deal, is a very bad thing, and no seller wants to do it, okay? They're not going to do it, okay? Especially with no money. Number two, trying to do a lease purchase option is not a good thing because the buyer is not going to come through. Okay, now, if you just want to keep changing buyers every 2 years, that's fine, but you're going to be in a lawsuit constantly. They're going to constantly be suing you. So do I recommend Ron LeGrand? I absolutely do not recommend anybody who's selling a lease purchase option. Now, do I think Ron LeGrand has done deals in the past? Yeah, I do. I think Ron LeGrand, I listen to him talk, and he's an intelligent speaker. There's no doubt about that. But if you actually listen and look at the deals that he says he's doing, I think it's I think they're made up. I think they're fantasy land deals. Because I live in the real world. Go try and do the fucking deals that he's talking about. Go try to buy a property $70,000 under value. Go try to do it. Go try to find a house that has $70,000 worth of equity right now that has $3,000 or no. One of them had $3,000, the other one had zero things in repairs. Go try to get that done. Go see if you can get that done. Go see if you can get that done. Buying a house with $70,000 under that's I see the cords wrapped, $70,000 under value. And then sell it for $20,000 more than what it's worth 10 days later. Go try to do that anywhere. Good luck, right? Go try to take somebody's payment over, okay? and see what they say. Before you even get started, just ask 10 random people, hey, if you were stuck in a house, right? If you had a house and you were stuck in it, you had to get out of it, would you do this method? Would you give me the deed, but the loan's got to stay in your name, right? You don't get any money, but I'll pay you off in a couple of years, right? Ask anybody if they would hand the keys over and keep it a loan in their name, right? Ask them if they would do it. And I'm telling you, 10 out of 10 would say you're out of your fucking mind, right? You're not getting it done. By the way, I apologize for my cursing. This stuff gets me riled up. I sincerely apologize. I got a potty mouth, and I'm sorry for that. But my point is I don't care if it's Ron LeGrand, Pace Morley, or any of these guys that are selling you this subject to fantasy land. You're not going to succeed. A virtual assistant is not any good as well. Like, they do nothing. All they do is they give you shit leads. They call up every Tom, Dick, and Harry and say, do you want to sell your house? And they say, of course I do. Okay, when are you looking to move? Like, listen to the script. Listen to what they ask. Okay, just so you know. All right, so my house is for sale. I'm not using a realtor. Here's what they say. Do you have a house for sale? Yeah, I have a house for sale. What's your phone number? You just fucking called me, you idiot. What's your address? You're calling me about a house I have for sale and you don't even know my address? Right? What's the best time to reach you? I mean, are you kidding me? Right? Like, you fuck. Okay, here's the buyer's call. Are you interested in buying a house? Yeah, I want to buy a house. What's your phone number? What's your cell number? What kind of lead do you think you're getting out of this? What kind of lead do you think you're going to get? You're going to get the dumbest leads out there. You're better off making the calls yourself, right? Because by the time you go through these calls that they're just, all they're trying to do is give you every call that they can get because you're paying them $1,000 a month. I am telling you. Trust me when I tell you this. I know people that have done this. I'm not saying Ron LeGrand's one, but I'm telling you they use virtual assistants to go through this process because everybody goes to Ron LeGrand and then they fail. And what do? They become the next guru, right? Look at every guru that's out there selling a program. They all went to Ron LeGrand, thought they were going to become a real estate investor. They fucking failed. And what happened? Now they're the next guru selling the same damn program. They're all selling the same program Ron did. Why? Because they're not making money doing the deals. Trust me when I tell you this. If you were making money doing these deals that he's talking about, you're not going to become a guru. Trust me when I tell you this. Watch my videos on subject to financing and tell me if you honestly think you're going to have any luck going out and buying a property. Now, I'm going to wrap up by the story with one of my students. Okay? So, this husband and wife come, they see me do a speech, right? And I bring up subject to financing, and they say, oh, yeah, I did. He was literally in the front row, suit and tie. His wife all dressed very pretty, right? Handsome guy, pretty wife, right? Dressed up. And he says, yeah, we tried subject to, and I'm like, yeah, they laughed at you, right? He goes, no. I said, okay. So I do my speech, and afterwards he comes up, right? He says, hey, can I get your name? Yeah. So he comes to my school, right? Then he becomes a student of mine, right? Private student as well. And then he tells the class the story. I said, why don't you tell us what happened with your subject to deal? I said, well, do me a favor. Just tell us what happened. So here's what he said. I went down to this guru down in Philadelphia, right? And they showed me subject to finance. He goes, Vinny, I got to tell you, I couldn't believe it, what I heard. He said, now I want you to understand, I already bought a 5-unit, right? I bought the 5-unit. We put 20% down, and it's the sister property, another 5-unit, and they want to buy it, but they don't have enough money to put down. And they saw an ad for like real estate, education, real estate investing, buy houses, no money down. And they went down and they heard about subject to financing, and they could not believe it. They're like, this is the best thing I've ever heard since sliced bread. This is unbelievable. Now, this is not me saying it. This is them saying it. This is unbelievable. I can't believe this is out there. They're like, we're going to own so many houses, right? So they call the guy up and say, listen, we want to buy your house. We want to buy the other 5. And the guy says, listen, great. I would love for you to own both of them because I had them for so long. I would love for the same person to own both of them because it's the sister property, right? Like, okay, well, when do you want to come? He goes, well, I'm going away for 2 weeks. Come and see me when I get back. He said, listen, I won't take another offer. I'll listen to your offer first. I want to sell it to you. They're like, okay, great. So they went down to the guru. They learned subject to financing. And he told me, he said, for 2 weeks straight, I practiced it on my wife. And he goes, we were convinced we're going to buy this property. We were so happy. We're on cloud. We cannot believe that we learned this program. Can't believe it. I can't believe this is out there, right? So I said, okay, what was the sales price? $500,000. Okay. And what did he owe? $300. I said, say no more. Now I said, I'm going to show you what you did. Now I already know that you don't have the money to put down. So it's very simple. The only other option that you had, because you want to own it, right? You're not flipping it. You want to own it. You got to ask for a seller assist. A seller second or a seller take back, right? So the seller will hold the second, seller holds the paper, right? Seller take back, seller carry, however you want to sell it. The seller is basically creating a second mortgage for you. So I said, what you did is you told him that you'll take the first $300,000 subject to financing that's in place. So meaning he's going to sign the deed over to you. You're going to start making payments on the $300,000 immediately. The $200,000 that's left over that he's selling it for, you'll create a note. How much is the note? Well, $200,000 will give you 10% interest only for 5 years. And he's like, man, you're very close. He goes, we didn't tell him we'll give him 10%. We told him 6%, right, for 5 years. I said, okay. And what happened? I said, I already know what happened, right? He's going to say, let me think about this for 1 second. I'm going to sign my deed over to you two. I'm going to walk away with lint in my pocket. Lint. What's lint? This stuff right here. That means no money. There's not a dime in there. Instead of $200,000, I got lint. The loan is staying in my name. If the bank finds out, and by the way, it's commercial financing, they will call the note due immediately, right? They're going to call it immediately, okay? So, because they do reviews all the time, right? They don't need an excuse to call the note due. They have the ability to call it due. So they're going to call the note due, right? And I'm going to be stuck with it. No, thank you, right? So they walked out of there in total disbelief that this did not work. Total disbelief. Then they learned my method. And listen, and he says, man, if I would have known you before this, I said, listen. My method would have given you a better shot. It doesn't mean it would have got done with no money down. Okay? If you had some money, maybe he would have done subject to, maybe he would have used my method. He goes, I would have had a way better chance with your method. I said, maybe, but maybe he doesn't want to do anything but get his $200,000 and run. You don't know, right? So I said, I give you credit, And I said, listen, I'm just telling you, he laughed at you behind your back. And then he said, nah, he didn't laugh at us. You can see he was very nice and polite. I'm like, okay. All right, well, he's with me another, couple of months, not even like 2 months later. He calls me up late at night, half shot in the ass drunk. And he says, Vinny, there's no doubt he laughed at me behind my back. He goes, because I'm so embarrassed. He goes, I see him in town. I bury my head. I'm like, dude, don't bury your head. I was like, listen, just because you made an offer, most people wouldn't even made the offer, right? Give yourself credit. Don't be ashamed by it. It is what it is. He's like, I just cannot believe I made that offer. He goes, now that I know what I know, he goes, because I didn't know anything back then. And that's the problem with everybody out there, all you guys, starving for information. Ron LeGrand, he's the greatest, pays horribly. Grant Cardone, right? They're worthless, okay? And you're starving for this information, and you just will believe anything that these people say, right? The same with this guy, the same as my student. He believed everything that the guy said, except for what they do is they're selling a program. See, I'm an educator. I teach. I don't tell you to use this program and this program or this or that and the other thing. I teach you all of this, okay? That's the difference between me and everybody else. Now, I do have a better program than all this shit out there, right? But I've been doing this for 40 years. Now, and the first thing I teach you is, listen, look at things from the eyes of the seller, not from the eyes of the buyer. They're teaching it to you from the eyes of the buyer, and it looks great and it looks easy. But it's not easy because the seller has to say yes or say no. They're the ones that say yes or say no, not you, okay? So he goes, man, he goes, listen, knowing what I know now, I'm laughing at myself. Literally. My wife's like, we can't believe it. Just what I'm saying is this. They were like, my eyes are wide open now. I didn't know any of this was out there. We learned one thing and thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Then we got educated and realized how big of a piece of shit subject to financing is, right? That's all I'm telling you, is that you're not, this program that he's selling, the virtual assistants, they suck, okay? They're going to give you the worst leads. How do I know? Because I have students that went down this avenue. They're junk leads. Just look at the questions that they asked the sellers. Just like the guy that just told me, he goes, listen, he goes, I can't even believe it. This is the, I'm telling you, here's the script. Do you have a house for sale? What is your phone number? What information are you getting from this virtual assistant, right? That you think is going to be a good lead, okay? Do you have a house for sale? Of course I do. What's your phone number? 610? Is that your cell? Yes. What's the address? 123 Main Street. What's the best time to call you? 7 p.m. Okay? So they give you the lead. Okay? Here it is. So they give me the lead. All right, you call me up. Hey, Vinny, listen, my assistant told me that you got a house for sale. I do. How much are you in? Well, 200 grand. All right, well, listen, we're thinking about, did she talk to you about me taking over your payments? No. No. What are you talking about? No, I'm not doing that. Are you sure? You should go into your fucking next spiel. And again, you're just going to get hung up on. The answer is no. No. No, scripts don't work. And that's the kind of bullshit, that's the kind of virtual assistant bullshit leads you're going to get. I'm reading it right here. Right? As a buyer, are you interested in buying? What's your phone number? What's your cell? What's the best time to call you? What kind of leads do you think you're going to get out of this? Right? What do you think you're going to get out of this? You're making one person rich, Ron LeGrand. That's it. I guarantee you, right? Now, you might get one deal subject to. You may get lucky and lightning strikes. But that's not what real estate investing is about. It's deal 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, if you have money to put money down, all right, you might be out. If you pay the equity to the seller, yeah, you might be able to do some subject to financing deals. But do you want to do it? Do you want to risk having a note being called due? I certainly don't. There's better methods out there. You just don't know them, right? So, am I a fan? Not at all. Would I go to his classes? Not at all. I don't know the man personally. He might be a very nice fella. Not going to knock the man. I don't know him. But I'm just telling you, subject to doesn't work. Lease purchase options are the worst things out there, right? Private money and hard money, they're everywhere. You can find them. Well, private money is a little harder than hard money, but hard money lenders are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere, okay? They're everywhere. They're a dime a dozen. So don't waste your time and your energy because you're not going to be successful. Just telling you, right? Just watch my videos on subject to financing, okay? Then all you need to do. Call up their school and say, what am I going to learn at your 4-day boot camp and what do you guys teach, right? So, and again, like I said, you can learn how to go out there and try and do a lease purchase option where they give you the $20,000 down and you give it to the seller. But just remember that the person that you just took the money from the lease purchase is not going to be making the payments. So you better have that money ready to go in 6 months. I'm telling you, 6 months is the magic number. Month 7th, 8th, and 9th, you're going to be one making those payments, trying to evict the tenant out of there. Okay? And be prepared to go to court with an attorney because they're going to file, right? And they're going to say to the judge that, hey, I got equitable ownership as a lease purchase option. I got equitable ownership, right? Whether they do or don't, that's up to the judge. But you're fighting court dates now. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. You will win, but how long is it going to take you? A year? 2 years? Can you make those monthly payments for that? And don't be the dick, right? And says, oh, I'll just give the deed back to the seller. That's lazy man investor. Like, if you're going to do that shit, don't even be an investor, okay? Don't even be an investor. Get out of here with that bullshit, okay? So, well, there's my recap on Ron LeGrand. Like I said, I don't just look at it on the cursory. I dig into it. And trust me, I dug into it. I read it. I looked at all of it. I listened to his videos. I watched his videos. And I am telling you, if you think you are a millionaire in the making with this, you got another thing coming. All right? I've been doing this for 40 years. Good luck out there. Good luck out there. Right? I mean, come on. You might learn wholesaling too. Right? He does teach wholesaling. Yeah, good luck with that. Now, listen, wholesaling does work in certain areas, inner city resort areas. If you want to go down there and do it there, you will make a lot of money. I'm not saying you won't. Got to be in the right spot for that. So if anybody has any questions, put them down there. I'll answer everything. Right? If you want to learn more about me, text the word golden to 21,000, right? Or just everybody knows how to reach me through, all the different social media things. All right? So if you want to talk to me, feel free. I'm always around. I love chatting real estate. All right? And by the way, I'm the only guy here. I'm the guy shooting the video, turning the off and on camera, turning these lights on, posting the video, right? Answering the phone calls, teaching the classes. There's nobody but me. You're looking at the faculty. I am the faculty. Me, myself, and I. There's the three of us, right? So write your questions. I'll answer anything that you have. And if there's a guru out there you want me to investigate, I might have already done it. And if not, I will dig deep into it. And listen, if they are good, I will give them their flowers and say, yes. Listen, if I thought that this was worth it, I would absolutely positively give it thumbs up. I just don't think that's the case. So thanks for coming to this episode of False Prophets Podcast. My name is Vinny. I'll see you on the next class.